Hi, this is Mike bringing you in-depth review from Tintec. This is the G2 and this is the G3. We can tell this from the looks, but it's not so distinguishable once we go into the software because I've loaded a custom ROM, the OPTIMUS G3 ROM onto the G2. It's made by XDA senior member OP and it ports the UI of the G3 onto the G2.
So let's go and check it out.
G3 ROM comes with a custom boot animation, which is Android L boot animation. So I'm going to show you how it looks like. I personally liked it a lot. You can see as it boots up. Right there. Just give it a minute. Right. You see this? This is from stock Android L preview. Then we come to the lock screen, and it's the highly advertised not code of the G2 and G3. So you can see here, from the lock screen, both have the not code right here. But a minor difference you can see is that here lacks the ability to swipe to the left to unlock this to the camera. It's very strange why the G3 Optimus, the Optimus G3 ROM does not support that. Maybe it will be added later on. But as you can see, there's no support for that widget, camera widget right here. No, not at all. So once you unlock the phone, you're going to go to the home screen. I'm going to show you. I'm going to do a little bit of hardware comparison first. Now we're going to do a little hardware comparison right here. I think most people are quite familiar with this. The G3 comes with a 5.5-inch Quad HD screen, 2560 by 1440, and it's at 534 pixels per inch. But the G2 on the other hand comes with a 5.2-inch Full HD display, 1920 by 1080p, 424 ppi. The G3 comes with Snapdragon 801 clock at 2.5 GHz, while the G2 comes with the Snapdragon 800 clock at 2.3 GHz, and both are running Adreno 330 as the GPU. Both cameras are 13 megapixels, but the G3 has got dual LED and laser focus and OIS plus. And you can see that the G3 has a more polished look than the G2. The G3 comes with 3 GB of RAM, while the G2 only has 2. But that's not the main issue for most people with moderate use. Right, next we're going to unlock both phones. As see here on this is the home screen display. You can swipe and you see there are animations. I can assure you this is stock launcher on both phones. LG has done very well on both creating that launcher because it looks very close to stock Android. And it's very clean, and there are loads of customizations right there. The effect that you're seeing is dominoes. I'll come to that in a minute. But you can pinch in and you see that you can add LG Health. LG Health basically gives you the ability to track your movements. It acts somewhat like a pedometer. But I don't really use it often because it drains battery a lot. And you can change icons on your own too. You can just press it, and then you see this, and you can press here, and you see it. You can change icons on both. Right. Now we're going into the settings. Right. Before that, you can see that both notification shades are very similar because, as I said, ported the G3 UI over, and it's more minimalistic and very clean right there. So we're going to go to the settings. You see that this is in tab view. But of course, if you don't like tab view, you can change it to list view, no problem. But personally, I still like tab view quite a bit because you can swipe. And very organized too. We're talking about home screen right now. So as you go into the home screen section, you see that you have the ability to change theme. You can download a lot more themes from the LG World, which is their app store. And as I said earlier, you have swipe effects on home screen. I was using dominoes, but you have a lot of options. That's why I say LG really did a good thing here. And let's go back. Now go into the lock screen section. On the lock screen, we are using not code for both phones, but I just want to change that for now, and let you see something else. So I want to do swipe. And once you go to swipe, there's a minor difference right here. The Optimus G3 ROM on the G2 comes with a list of effects on the swipe. On the G3 official ROM does only have 4. That's a plus for this ROM. You can see that there are a lot like particles effect. We have the sorry, I'll just show you how it looks like. It looks like this. This is the same as G2. We have the see what we don't have here. We have crystal effect. Yeah, okay, I'll show you right here. Right, see here? Right. But personally, I still like the vector circle. Right, and you can have weather animations. There's going to be clouds shown. You see here? Sorry, this white background, I can't see it very well. Right. Right, next we'll be talking about the home touch buttons, which is the navigation buttons here. You can set the colors, of course. I can set it all to white. And button combinations, now you can set button combinations. That's great. I mean, yeah, you can have, you can put it here, but I don't really like it. So yeah. And now you can have the ability to hide home touch button, which is the navigation bar on selected apps. Right here you can have a list of apps and you can choose what apps you want to select.
So now I'm going to show you an example. I'm going to open my iReader app, which I chose to hide the navigation bar. I'm going to open a random book for you. You can see that the navigation bar is hidden right now. If you want to, you can swipe up. You can get back to the home screen, but you can see that the weather widget somehow reloaded. It always happens, not just on this attempt. It's not a big deal, but you do feel a little bit of lag every single time.
And also you can see from the navigation bar is the fact that they have now removed the menu button and added the recent apps button. This is following the trend of Android, of course. But don't worry, if you still want menu button, you can long press this and you still get it. Talking about the recent apps drawer, we just go into and show you. Now you get the ability to pinch in and out to select the recent app sites, which that's very good for what LG have done. But something I want to clarify here is that on the OPTIMUS G3 ROM, you can see right here that is the task manager. This is installed when the ROM installation process is happening. The Aroma installer will ask you whether you want to install this, and I say yes, go ahead, and here it is. On the official G3, however, there's no such thing. Of course, you don't want it when installing this ROM, but well, I just prefer it. And of course, you get dual windows here. This is the new feature LG is pushing for. This is somewhat like Samsung's, so you can press it, and you get dual windows ability. You can have one app here and one app here. Something to note is that on the OPTIMUS G3 ROM, every single app is unlocked, so you can use any app as the dual window. Just like, but on the real G3, however, you can't. There's only selected LG apps that or apps that can use this function, just like what Samsung has done. But of course, these two phones are both rooted. All apps have been unlocked. So I'm going to just show you how it works roughly. I'm sure that many of you are very familiar with this. So I'm going to open the file manager right here, and then maybe open the metronome right here. Right. So you can see, you can adjust the window size. Sure, I mean, although you have only 2 GB of RAM, it's perfectly fine. There's no lags, no nothing. I can say that, well, yeah, anything. So basically going back. Okay, now you can swipe away the apps like this. Swipe away, swipe away. Alright, some minor things that I want to talk about is the keyboard and runtime. Both phones can run art in the developer setting. You can change to art here. And of course the official G3 can do that too, no problem. Right here you can have USB debugging and everything. It's very similar to both phones. But I just want to say that you can see that the contextual notification bar right here is a slightly different colors. It might be due to the display, but then I'm not very sure about that. Right, and well, it's very, now LG have made them contextual, so you see the colors blend in. But that's only for selected LG apps. Then we're going to talk about the keyboard. As I said, LG has revamped this keyboard. So let me get you a demo of the keyboard. I think the keyboard's quite great. So you can have the keyboard right here. Now this keyboard matches the whole UI very well, very flat. You can have swipe inputs right here, no problem, it's working very well. The autocorrect is great. Of course, one thing they advertise very greatly is the ability to change the keyboard size. Though it's not the first keyboard on the market to do that, still give them a plus on this. Right, you can see right here, you can really change this. You can have the ability to whether you want this row of numbers also. But something I didn't like about the keyboard very much is that you need to access emoji by pressing quite many times, like 1, 2, then you get the emojis. Other phones not so much, that's one pressing the emojis. Something else about the keyboard I didn't mention earlier is that the fact that you can have single-handed operations if you are using the keyboard. If you are using it single-handedly, if you think the screen is too big for you, so you can just swipe there and just get it here. Right. So if you're having the right hand, you just swipe back and get here. It's smaller, but well, you can use it one-handed, no problem. Right. Finally, we're talking about the cameras on both phones. The G3 camera is loaded onto this ROM, and you get a minimalistic view. Here you can see here, very nice view. You can just change it and you see very minimalistic, just like on the G3. So you can just touch the screen and autofocus and snap the photo. Right, but of course you can do the traditional way. Though something I didn't like about the camera app is the fact that it's very much simplified. It does not have the traditional features like you cannot set autofocus, manual focus, or you cannot set the modes like night mode, something like that. Everything is auto right here. But LG compensated that by having some additional software features like the selfie mode, as you can see here. So right now, you can see, you can just place your hand and then you'll take a selfie. Right. And also you can just swipe back and forth to change the camera, the front facing or the back facing, no problem. And then something different about the camera here is the ability to, that's right, see, right. So this G3 ROM also comes with 4K recording, which is very good. And also it has a 60 frame full HD video, which surprisingly the G3 doesn't have. Alright, you see here, nothing, but you can see this here. There's also some slight differences here. Although we get a 13 megapixel, 10 megapixel, this one goes to 8, but this one comes to 9, and then this one goes to 1, and this one goes to 3. That might be because the camera here is slightly better. Because, yeah. But don't worry, if you still like the traditional camera, we have it on this ROM, but not on the G3, of course. The Optimus G Pro camera is loaded onto this ROM, right here. So what this does is that you can set manual focus. Right, you can see here, you can have different modes. You also have manual focus, which is obviously the G3 camera also have. You can have night modes, much more. Right. You can set the white balance. You can have brightness, the brightness level here. Then you can set ISO even. You have color effect. There's a lot more on this G Pro camera than on the real actual G3 camera. But of course, if you're just snapping quick photos, I recommend the G3 camera. It's very nice. Just tap and snap. But of course, you're not as fast as the G3 because there's laser focus right here.
I'll be concluding the video right now. What you have seen in this video is that G2 can indeed be transformed into a G3 with the Optimus G3 ROM. The difference between the G3 and the G2 is minimized. To be precise, the G3 only outshines its predecessor a bit in terms of the Quad HD screen, the camera, and the looks. Considering such a ROM and capable hardware of G2, I think I'm going to hold on for the upgrade to a G3. What do you think? Do comment and give feedback. Thank you for watching and do subscribe.